The judge stopped writing mid-sentence. Her pen hovered over the paper for 3 long seconds before she set it down with a sharp click that echoed through the silent courtroom. "Bailiff," she said, and her voice had gone from professional to something I'd never heard from a judge before. Something cold and dangerous. "I need this room cleared. Every single person except the parties and counsel. And get me someone from the DA's office. Right now." I sat in the defendant's chair watching my ex-husband Marcus and my own sister Rachel stare at the screen in horror. The Ring camera footage playing on the courtroom monitor showed them in my living room 3 weeks ago, practicing their testimony word for word, laughing about how they'd make sure I never saw my daughter again. Marcus was coaching Rachel on how to cry on command. Rachel was suggesting they add details about me throwing things. "Your Honor," my lawyer stood. "I believe we have just witnessed 2 counts of perjury and conspiracy to obstruct justice." The bailiff moved toward Marcus and Rachel. Neither of them ran. They just sat there frozen like they couldn't believe their own voices were echoing through the courtroom. Rachel's mascara was already running. Marcus looked like he might be sick. My daughter Emma was in the hallway with my lawyer's assistant. She didn't need to see this. She didn't need to know that her father and her aunt had tried to steal her from me using lies. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Olivia Chin. I'm 33 years old, and until 6 months ago I thought I understood my family. I thought I knew who I could trust. I was so wrong it almost cost me everything. I work as a graphic designer at a small firm in Portland, Oregon. The pay is decent. My apartment is small but clean. My daughter Emma is 7 years old with my dark hair and Marcus's green eyes. She's the best thing that ever happened to me, even though the marriage that produced her was the worst. Marcus and I divorced 2 years ago. It wasn't pretty, but it wasn't a war either. Or so I thought. He got weekends with Emma. I got weekdays. We split holidays. The custody arrangement was clear and legal, and most importantly, it kept Emma stable. My sister Rachel lived 20 minutes away. She was my best friend growing up. We told each other everything. She was there when Marcus proposed. She held my hand through labor when Emma was born. She was my maid of honor and my emergency contact, and the person I called when I was too tired to function. I trusted her completely. That was my first mistake. The problem started in January. Marcus called saying he wanted to modify the custody arrangement. He wanted Emma during the week. I could have weekends. I asked why. He said his new job had better hours. He said Emma would be more stable with a consistent schedule. He said I worked too much and came home too tired. He made it sound reasonable, like he was thinking of Emma. But something felt off. Marcus had never cared about schedules before. He forgot Emma's soccer games half the time. He once missed her birthday party because he was watching football with friends. This sudden interest in being primary parent didn't match the man I knew. I said no, politely but firmly. The current arrangement worked. Emma was happy. Her grades were good. She had friends. There was no reason to disrupt everything. Marcus's voice changed. It got cold. Hard. "Fine," he said. "We'll do this the legal way." I didn't think much of it then. People threaten lawyers all the time during divorces. Most of it is just blowing off steam. I figured he'd calm down after a few days. I was wrong again. 2 weeks later, Rachel showed up at my apartment. She had wine and takeout Chinese food. She said she wanted a girls' night like old times. We sat on my couch eating lo mein and drinking cheap Merlot. Rachel asked how I was doing. I told her about Marcus wanting to change custody. I told her I was worried he might actually file something with the court. Rachel listened. She nodded. She said all the right things. She told me Marcus was being unreasonable. She told me any judge would see I was the better parent. She told me not to worry. Then she asked questions. Detailed questions. Had I ever yelled at Emma? Had I ever spanked her? Had I ever lost my temper and thrown anything? Had I ever driven angry with Emma in the car? I answered honestly. Of course I'd yelled. Every parent yells sometimes. No, I'd never hit Emma. Yes, I'd thrown a dish towel once when the sink was clogged. Yes, I'd driven upset, but never recklessly. Rachel wrote nothing down. She just listened and drank her wine and nodded sympathetically. I thought she was being a good sister. I thought she cared. She was gathering ammunition. 3 weeks after that conversation, Marcus filed for emergency custody. The court papers arrived at my office. My hands shook reading them. Marcus claimed I was emotionally unstable. He claimed I had violent outbursts. He claimed Emma was afraid of me. He claimed I drove dangerously with her in the car. He claimed I threw objects during arguments. Every single detail came from my conversation with Rachel. Every single one. The dish towel. the raised voice, the upset driving. All of it twisted and exaggerated and presented as evidence of abuse. I called Rachel immediately. I was crying. I told her what Marcus had done. I told her about the allegations. I needed my sister. I needed someone on my side. Rachel's voice was perfect sympathy. "Oh my God, Liv," she said. "That's horrible. What can I do to help?" I asked her to write a statement for my lawyer. She'd been around Emma and me countless times. She could testify I was a good mother. She could counter Marcus's lies. "Of course," Rachel said. "Anything you need." I believed her. I actually believed her. My lawyer was a woman named Sandra Martinez. She'd handled my divorce and knew Marcus's tendency to exaggerate. She read the filing and frowned. "This is serious," she said. "Emergency custody hearings move fast. We have 2 weeks to prepare." I told her everything. I told her about my conversation with Rachel. I told her how Marcus seemed to know exactly what to say to make me sound dangerous. I told her I thought he was lying. Sandra made notes. She asked if I had any proof of my good parenting. School records, medical records, anything showing Emma was well cared for. I had everything. Emma's report cards were excellent. Her pediatrician had no concerns. Her teacher said she was happy and well-adjusted. I had documentation of every pickup and drop-off. I kept a calendar of activities and meals. Sandra nodded. "Good. We can work with this." Then she asked the hard question. "Is there anyone who might testify against you? Anyone Marcus could have gotten to?" I said no immediately. My family loved me. My friends knew I was a good mom. There was nobody. I forgot that sometimes the people closest to you are the most dangerous. The Ring doorbell camera was something I'd installed 6 months earlier. There'd been some package thefts in my building, and I wanted security. The camera recorded whenever someone approached my door. The footage saved to the cloud for 30 days. I barely thought about it most days. I'd check it sometimes if I missed a delivery. That was it. 2 days before the custody hearing, Rachel asked to borrow my spare key. She said she needed to water my plants while I was at work. I'd given her keys before. I didn't think twice. I said yes. I told her where the spare was hidden. I went to work. What I didn't know was that Marcus came with her. What I didn't know was that my Ring camera captured everything. What I didn't know was that they were about to hand me the evidence that would destroy them. The camera caught them entering at 2:15 in the afternoon. It caught their voices clearly. It caught every single word they said in my entryway where the sound echoed perfectly. I didn't check the footage until the night before court. I was reviewing everything with Sandra. I wanted to make sure my apartment was clean and presentable in case the judge ordered a home visit. That's when I saw it. I almost didn't watch the whole video. It was just Rachel entering my apartment. Nothing unusual. But then Marcus appeared behind her, and I paused. Why was Marcus in my home? Rachel hadn't mentioned bringing him. They weren't even friends. The only thing connecting them was me and Emma. I turned up the volume on my laptop. Sandra was sitting next to me. We both leaned in. Marcus's voice came through clearly. "Okay, so tomorrow you'll testify that you witnessed Olivia throwing dishes during an argument." Rachel laughed. "Just dishes? Should I make it sound worse?" "No," Marcus said. "Keep it believable. The judge will ask for specifics. You saw her throw a plate at the wall during Thanksgiving 2 years ago. That never happened," I whispered to Sandra. "Rachel wasn't even there that Thanksgiving." Sandra held up her hand. "Keep watching." On the screen, Rachel was nodding. "Got it. Thanksgiving. Plate at the wall." Emma was scared and crying. Marcus continued. "And you've seen her yell at Emma in public. At the grocery store." Emma looked terrified. "When?" Rachel asked. "Make up a date," Marcus said. 3 months ago. You were there shopping together. I felt sick watching them. My sister and my ex-husband standing in my entryway planning how to destroy me. Planning how to take my daughter away using lies they were manufacturing in real time. Rachel practiced her testimony. She put her hand over her heart and made her voice shake. "I love my sister, but I'm worried about Emma's safety. I've seen Olivia lose control. I've seen Emma flinch when Olivia raises her voice." Marcus nodded approvingly. "Perfect. Can you cry?" Rachel's face transformed. Tears appeared on command. "I don't want to do this," she said in a broken voice. "But Emma needs protection." They both laughed. Actually laughed. Marcus high-fived Rachel. "This is going to work," he said. "The judge will eat this up." Concerned aunt worried about her niece. "No way Olivia keeps primary custody." "And the best part," Rachel said, "is that Olivia told me half of this stuff herself. She has no idea I've been feeding you information." Sandra grabbed my hand. Her grip was tight. "Olivia," she said quietly. Do you understand what we're watching? I understood. I was watching my sister commit perjury. I was watching her conspire with my ex-husband to destroy my life. I was watching her betray me in ways I didn't think were possible. The video continued. Marcus and Rachel went through her entire testimony. They coordinated stories. They made sure their timelines matched. They discussed how to make me sound unstable without going so far that it seemed unbelievable. Rachel suggested adding details about me drinking too much. Marcus said no. Keep it focused on anger issues and erratic behavior. The judge needs to think Emma is in danger. They talked about money. Marcus had paid Rachel $5,000 already. He'd pay another $5,000 after the hearing. $10,000 total for my sister to lie under oath and help steal my daughter. I was crying. Sandra was taking notes and recording the ring footage with her phone. She was already thinking 3 steps ahead. This is gold, Sandra said. This is perjury. This is conspiracy. This is witness tampering. Olivia, they just handed us everything we need. But I couldn't think about legal strategy. All I could think about was Rachel's laugh. The way she'd practiced looking sad while planning to destroy me. The way she'd hugged me 3 days ago and said she'd be there for me no matter what. The video ended with them leaving. 15 minutes of my sister selling me out for $10,000. Sandra and I stayed up until 3 in the morning. We made copies of everything. We uploaded the footage to secure servers. We prepared a motion to show the video to the judge. Sandra explained the strategy. We'd let Marcus and Rachel testify first. We'd let them commit perjury on the record. Then we'd play the video. The impact would be devastating. Are you sure? I asked. What if the judge doesn't allow it? Sandra smiled. It was a cold smile. Trust me. The judge will allow it. This is a fraud on the court. Judges take that very seriously. I barely slept that night. I kept thinking about Emma. She loved Rachel. Rachel was Auntie Ray who brought presents and did funny voices, and taught her to make friendship bracelets. How would I explain that Rachel had tried to take her away from me? The next morning I dressed carefully. Conservative dress. Minimal makeup. Hair pulled back. I needed to look like the stable, responsible parent I was. Sandra met me outside the courthouse. She had 2 USB drives with the video and a laptop ready to present it. She squeezed my shoulder. Today we win, she said. I wanted to believe her. But walking into that courthouse knowing my sister was inside preparing to destroy me made my stomach turn. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Judge Patricia Morrison presided. She was in her 50s with steel gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Marcus sat with his lawyer on one side. I sat with Sandra on the other. Rachel was in the waiting area outside. She'd be called as a witness. The judge reviewed the case. Emergency custody petition based on allegations of emotional instability and unsafe behavior. She looked at me over her reading glasses. Ms. Chun, are you represented? Yes, Your Honor, I said. My voice was steady. Sandra had coached me to stay calm no matter what. The judge nodded. Mr. Patterson, you filed this motion. Your burden of proof. Call your first witness. Marcus's lawyer stood. We call Marcus Patterson to the stand. I watched my ex-husband take the oath. I watched him promise to tell the truth. I watched him lie for 20 minutes straight. He claimed I'd thrown things at him during our marriage. He claimed I'd screamed at Emma until she cried. He claimed our daughter had told him she was scared of Mommy. He claimed I drove recklessly with Emma in the car. Every lie was delivered smoothly. Confidently. He'd practiced this. Sandra cross-examined Marcus carefully. She asked for specific dates. Specific times. Specific witnesses. Marcus fumbled. He couldn't remember exact details. He said things happened but couldn't say when or where. But he was Emma's father. His concern seemed genuine even though I knew it wasn't. The judge took notes. Then Marcus's lawyer called Rachel. My sister walked in wearing a gray dress that made her look professional and trustworthy. She didn't look at me. Rachel took the oath. She swore to tell the truth. Then she lied. She lied so smoothly I almost believed her myself. She testified that she'd witnessed me throwing a plate at Thanksgiving. She testified that she'd seen Emma flinch when I yelled. She testified that she loved me, but was terrified for her niece's safety. Her voice shook. Tears ran down her face. The judge leaned forward. Ms. Chun, this must be difficult for you. Coming forward against your own sister. Rachel nodded. She wiped her eyes. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, Your Honor. But Emma deserves a safe home. I gripped Sandra's hand under the table. Sandra squeezed back. Wait, she whispered. Just wait. Marcus's lawyer finished questioning Rachel. Sandra stood for cross-examination. The courtroom was silent. Ms. Chun, Sandra said. You testified that you witnessed your sister throw a plate at Thanksgiving 2 years ago. Yes, Rachel said. Her voice was quiet and sad. And you testified that you saw Emma looking terrified at a grocery store 3 months ago. Rachel nodded. Yes. I was there. I saw everything. Sandra walked back to our table. She picked up a USB drive. Your Honor, I'd like to present evidence that directly contradicts this testimony. The judge raised an eyebrow. What kind of evidence? Video footage, Sandra said. From Ms. Olivia Chen's Ring doorbell camera. Recorded 3 weeks ago. Marcus's lawyer objected. Relevance, Your Honor. We're discussing events from months ago. The relevance will become clear, Sandra said. I promise the court this is directly relevant to Ms. Rachel Chen's credibility. Judge Morrison considered, then nodded. I'll allow it. Play the video. Sandra connected her laptop to the courtroom monitor. Rachel's face went pale. Marcus shifted in his seat. They knew. Somehow they knew what was coming. The video started. The timestamp showed the date and time clearly. Rachel's voice came through the speakers. Just dishes? Should I make it sound worse? The courtroom went completely silent. Every eye was on the screen. The judge stopped taking notes and just watched. Marcus's voice. No. Keep it believable. The judge will ask for specifics. You saw her throw a plate at the wall during Thanksgiving 2 years ago. Rachel's response. Got it. Thanksgiving. Plate at the wall. Emma was scared and crying. I watched the judge's face change. Her mouth tightened. Her eyes narrowed. She looked at Rachel with something between disgust and fury. The video continued. Rachel practicing her testimony. Marcus coaching her. The discussion of money. The laughter. The high five. All of it playing out for the judge, and both lawyers, and the court reporter. When Rachel's voice said, I've been feeding you information, the judge actually gasped. A small sound, but I heard it. The video ended. The courtroom stayed silent for what felt like an hour, but was probably 30 seconds. Then Judge Morrison spoke. Her voice was ice. Mr. Patterson. Ms. Chun. Approached the bench. Now. Marcus and Rachel walked to the judge's bench. Both looked like they might collapse. The judge spoke quietly, but I could hear every word in the silent courtroom. I have just witnessed, the judge said, 2 witnesses commit perjury in my courtroom. I have just witnessed evidence of conspiracy to defraud this court and obstruct justice. Do either of you have anything to say? Marcus tried. Your Honor, I can explain. The judge cut him off. You can explain to the district attorney. Bailiff, clear this courtroom. I want everyone except the parties and their attorneys out. Now. The bailiff moved. The few observers filed out. My heart was pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. Judge Morrison looked at Sandra. Ms. Martinez, I assume you have copies of this footage? Multiple copies, Your Honor, Sandra said. Already provided to opposing counsel and ready to submit to the district attorney's office. Good, the judge said. Because that's exactly where this is going. She turned to Marcus and Rachel. You two will remain here. Bailiff, call the DA's office. I want someone here within the hour. Rachel was crying. Real tears this time. Not the practiced ones. Your Honor, please. Please what? The judge snapped. Please ignore that you rehearsed perjury in the plaintiff's home. Please ignore that you conspired to defraud this court. The next hour was chaos. An assistant district attorney arrived. Her name was Catherine Park, and she looked absolutely delighted to have a case this clear-cut. She watched the video twice. She took statements. She reviewed the court transcripts of Marcus and Rachel's testimony. She compared what they'd said under oath to what they'd said on camera. Then she looked at Judge Morrison. Your Honor, I'm charging both Mr. Patterson and Ms. Chun with perjury and conspiracy to obstruct justice. I'll have arrest warrants issued within the hour. Judge Morrison nodded. Do so. And Counselor, I'm issuing an emergency order granting full custody to Ms. Olivia Chen effective immediately. Mr. Patterson, you'll be lucky if you get supervised visitation after this. Marcus's face went gray. Your Honor, you can't. I absolutely can, the judge said. You came into my courtroom and lied. You brought a witness who lied. You attempted to use my court to steal a child from her mother using fabricated evidence. You're fortunate I'm not holding you in contempt on top of the criminal charges. She signed an order. Sandra took it with a small smile. Ms. Chun, the judge said, looking at me. I apologize that you had to endure this. The behavior of your ex-husband and your sister is reprehensible. I hope you and your daughter can heal from this. Rachel tried to approach me as we left the courtroom. Olivia, please, she said. Let me explain. I looked at my sister. The woman who'd held my hand through labor. The woman who'd been my maid of honor. The woman who'd sold me out for $10,000. Don't, I said. Don't ever speak to me again. Liv, please. Rachel's mascara was everywhere. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting my birthday, I said. This was calculated. This was planned. You practiced lying to steal my daughter. That's not a mistake, Rachel. That's betrayal. Sandra pulled me away. Rachel stood there crying. Marcus was arguing with his lawyer. The bailiff was making calls. Catherine Park was already drafting charges. We walked out of the courthouse into bright afternoon sun. Sandra turned to me. You did it. It's over. I nodded. But I felt numb. My daughter was safe. My custody was secure. My sister was going to be charged with crimes. My ex-husband was finished. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I just felt tired. Emma, I said suddenly. I need to get Emma. Sandra nodded. Go get your daughter. I'll handle the paperwork. Emma was at my lawyer's office with the assistant. She was doing homework and didn't know anything about what had happened. She looked up when I walked in. Mom. She ran to me. Her backpack bounced against her shoulders. I scooped her up even though she was getting too big for it. Hey baby, I said into her hair. Everything's okay now. Did you see Dad? Emma asked. Is he coming this weekend? I set her down carefully. We need to talk about that, sweetie. Let's go home first. In the car, Emma chattered about school. She'd gotten a gold star in math. Her friend Sophie had brought cookies for the whole class. She wanted to try out for soccer in the spring. I listened and drove carefully and tried to figure out how to explain that her father had tried to take her away from me. How to explain that her aunt had helped him. How to explain that the adults in her life had used her as a weapon. At home, I made Emma her favorite dinner. Mac and cheese with cut-up hot dogs. I let her watch cartoons while I sat in the kitchen and stared at nothing. My phone buzzed with texts. My mother. My friends. People who'd heard what happened. I ignored them all. That night I tucked Emma into bed. She hugged her stuffed elephant and looked up at me with Marcus's green eyes. Mom, are you sad? A little, I admitted. But I'm also really happy. Because I get to be with you. Emma nodded seriously. I'm happy too. Can Aunt Rachel come over this weekend? I want to show her my science project. My chest tightened. Baby Aunt Rachel is going to be busy for a while. She might not be able to visit. Emma's face fell. But she promised. She said we'd make cookies. I know, I stroked her hair. Sometimes grown-ups make promises they can't keep. It's not your fault. Aunt Rachel just has some things she needs to take care of. Emma was quiet. Then she said, is she in trouble? Yes, I said honestly. She made some bad choices, and now she has to face consequences. Emma processed this. Like when I lied about eating the cookies before dinner, and you took away screen time. Sort of like that, I said. But bigger. Emma nodded. That's sad. But you always say we have to tell the truth even when it's hard. That's right, I said. Always tell the truth. The criminal charges against Marcus and Rachel moved quickly. The video evidence was ironclad. Both of them hired lawyers who immediately started discussing plea deals. Catherine Park kept me updated. Marcus was facing up to 3 years. Rachel was facing the same. Their lawyers were trying to negotiate reduced sentences in exchange for guilty pleas. I asked Catherine what she recommended. Part of me wanted them to suffer. Part of me just wanted it to be over. Catherine was blunt. If they plead guilty, you won't have to testify. Emma won't have to be involved at all. If they go to trial, you'll relive this for months. I chose the plea deal. Not for Marcus and Rachel. For Emma. Marcus pleaded guilty to perjury and conspiracy. He got 18 months with the possibility of parole. He lost all unsupervised visitation rights. A social worker would have to be present if he ever saw Emma again. Rachel pleaded guilty to the same charges. She got 12 months because she cooperated more. She provided details about how Marcus had approached her. How he'd offered money. How he'd convinced her I was a bad mother. My mother called after Rachel's sentencing. She was crying. I'm so sorry, Mom said. I had no idea. None of us did, I said. Life slowly returned to normal. Emma went to school. I went to work. We had our routines. But some things were different now. I changed all my locks. I disabled the spare key I'd given Rachel. I added more security cameras around my apartment. I started seeing a therapist to process the betrayal. Emma asked about Rachel sometimes. I told her Aunt Rachel made bad choices and needed time to think about them. Emma was 7. She didn't need the full truth yet. My mother tried to bridge the gap. She visited both me and Rachel. She begged me to consider forgiveness eventually. I told her no. Some betrayals are too deep. Sandra called with updates about the custody situation. Marcus's visitation rights were now contingent on completion of anger management and parenting classes. Even then, visits would be supervised for at least 2 years. Emma seemed happier, actually. Without the stress of weekend handoffs and Marcus's unpredictable behavior, she was calmer. Her teacher said she was doing better in class. I filed for modification of child support. Marcus now owed more because he had less custody. His lawyer tried to fight it, but the judge shut that down quickly. Your client, Judge Morrison had said, attempted to steal custody through perjury. He's fortunate he has any access at all. 6 months after the trial, I ran into Rachel's best friend at the grocery store. Lisa had been at my wedding. She'd babysat Emma. She stopped when she saw me. Olivia, Lisa said quietly. How are you? I'm fine, I said. I kept my hand on my shopping cart. Lisa hesitated. I know what Rachel did was unforgivable. I just want you to know she's destroyed over it. She knows she can never fix this. Good, I said. It was harsh, but I meant it. Lisa nodded. She deserves your anger. She knows that. But she asked me to tell you something if I ever saw you. I waited. Part of me wanted to walk away. Part of me needed to hear it. She said she's sorry, Lisa continued. She said Marcus convinced her you were actually unstable. That he showed her texts and voicemails out of context. That she genuinely believed Emma was in danger. She knows now it was all lies. She knows she should have trusted you. But she wants you to know she thought she was protecting Emma. I stared at Lisa. That's her excuse? She thought she was helping? Lisa shook her head. It's not an excuse. It's just what happened. She knows it doesn't matter. She knows you'll never forgive her. She just wanted you to know. I thought about what Lisa said for days. Part of me understood how Rachel could have been manipulated. Marcus was good at lying. He'd fooled me for years. But understanding wasn't the same as forgiving. Rachel had taken money. She'd practiced her lies. She'd laughed about destroying me. Whatever Marcus had told her, she'd still made those choices. I talked to my therapist about it. Dr. Kim listened, and then asked me a question. What do you need to move forward? I thought about it. I need to know Emma is safe. I need to know this won't happen again. I need to not have to look over my shoulder waiting for the next betrayal. Dr. Kim nodded. Those are all about you and Emma. Not about Rachel or Marcus. That's healthy. So I don't have to forgive them? I asked. You don't have to do anything, Dr. Kim said. Forgiveness isn't required for healing. Boundaries are. I thought about boundaries. I thought about the walls I'd built around my life. Higher walls. Stronger walls. Walls that would keep my daughter safe. Emma was thriving. That was what mattered. She was happy and healthy and doing well in school. She had friends and activities, and a mother who would protect her no matter what. A year after the trial, I got a letter from Rachel. It was sent through her lawyer because she wasn't supposed to contact me directly. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity won. I opened it alone in my kitchen after Emma was asleep. The letter was short. Rachel didn't make excuses. She said she knew what she'd done was unforgivable. She said she'd lost her sister and her niece, and she deserved both losses. She said she thought about it every day. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't ask for contact. She just said she wanted me to know she was sorry, and she understood she'd destroyed something that could never be rebuilt. At the bottom, she'd written one more thing. I hope Emma is happy. I hope you're both safe. That's all I want now. For you both to be okay. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer. Not to keep it close, but to acknowledge it existed. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. Sorry doesn't unspeak lies. Sorry doesn't undo conspiracy. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust that's been shattered into a million pieces. But I didn't throw it away either. Maybe someday Emma would want to know. Maybe someday she'd ask about her aunt. This letter would be part of that truth. 2 years after the courtroom disaster, Emma and I were doing well. She was 9 now, tall for her age, still carrying that stuffed elephant everywhere. Marcus completed his sentence and his classes. He applied for visitation rights. The court granted him 4 hours a month supervised. Emma was nervous the first time, but the social worker was kind and the visit went okay. Emma came home and said Dad apologized. He said he made bad choices. He said he loved me. I nodded. People can love you and still hurt you. What matters is what they do now. Emma thought about that. I think he's trying to do better. That's good, I said. And I meant it. Not for Marcus. For Emma. Rachel got out after serving 9 months. She moved to Seattle. Far enough away that I didn't worry about running into her. She sent birthday cards to Emma through my mother. I let Emma decide if she wanted to open them. My mother asked once if I'd ever consider letting Rachel see Emma. I said no. Not now. Maybe not ever. Emma deserved family she could trust. I still had the ring footage saved. Sandra said to keep it forever. Just in case. Just in case Marcus tried something again. Just in case anyone questioned what really happened. Sometimes I watched it. Not often. But sometimes when I needed to remind myself that I wasn't crazy. That I hadn't imagined the betrayal. That what happened was real and documented and undeniable. The judge's face going white. The bailiff making calls. Rachel's mascara running. Marcus looking sick. All of it captured forever. They'd tried to steal my daughter using lies and conspiracy and family betrayal. They'd almost succeeded. But that ring camera had saved us both. Now Emma and I had peace. We had routine. We had trust. We had a life that was ours and nobody else's. And every night when I tucked Emma in and she hugged that elephant and told me she loved me, I knew that was enough. We were enough. We'd survived and we'd won, and we were safe. That was everything.